Alright, here's another book I took from the Friends of the Library and read. It's a quick read, it's easy to read. It's got some interesting life lessons to talk about. It's not exactly a cheap book, written in 2009? So many of these white pages too, I don't understand why these publishers do that. 2009, and by the author Jeannette. She writes first-person perspective of her grandmother's view. So I was confused the first 20 pages or so. It's not this woman's life, it's her grandmother's, but she was talking in a first-person view, like she was her grandmother. It's kind of confusing. Okay, so her grandmother was born in 1900 and went through all the major events, living on a ranch in Arizona. I think she was born maybe in Texas, but she's known the desert all her life. She only spent 3 years in Chicago, and she got married there to a guy who was married to another woman, and you learn how she finds that out. It was pretty emotional. I felt a little emotional reading it, but I thought his approach was pretty neat. He was one of them, she had a word for it, but it's like a swindler. His technique for selling vacuum cleaners was to get the foot in the door and throw dirt through that crack onto their floor. Then they have to let you clean up, and that's when you have your chance to try to make your sale. I thought that was an interesting technique. You know, I've always heard the get your foot in the door, but that's it. No, you need to wedge your foot into the door and use that opportunity to throw dirt on their floor. There's more to just putting your foot in the door. Let's see, Heavenly Mirage. Now, I didn't realize that there's a difference between a mirage in the sky and a mirage, or similarities even, a mirage on the ground. Apparently there's such a thing as a mirage that can develop, a mirage that can develop in the air too, and that has to do with the light bending. I didn't realize that existed. That'd be interesting to learn more about. Oh yeah, the swindler guy, he earned her trust before stealing from her. Somebody was wounded on page 103. I forget. Oh, yeah. I can't remember. I'll have to read. Yeah, it has to do, I think, maybe with her sister. Her sister committed suicide. I was surprised. These three kids, I think this is the grandmother. That's her brother. Brother stayed on the farm, ranch, married a woman older than himself. This is a girl that hanged herself. She had some big dreams, went out to LA and stuff. Crazy things happened that she talks about. And then she ends up hanging herself. That's kind of sad. There's just 3 kids living in this ramshackle house. They all built together and they lived that rancher's lifestyle. I can't imagine in all that heat of Arizona. She even talks about some trips where on riding a horse, she had to just stop in the shade and wait out that midday sun. So it's a lot of heat to deal with. But she lived all her life in the desert, talking about struggling for water and how they built a dam on a ranch that was owned by European British guys who had to sell after the World War I broke out, or World War II possibly. And she sounded like she was connected with the world a little bit. They had a radio and they could hear stations as far away as Germany on the other side of the world. There's a connection through the AM/FM radios besides the internet.